Well, this lighting is really nice. Happy Monday, guys. What's up? I hope you guys are having a great Monday so far, a great beginning of your week. It is just me this week, here to bring you some encouragement. And honestly, this goes out to the encouragers, the motivators, the ones who are always the positive person in the group, the happy-go-lucky people. I just thought about this because I was thinking about myself and the things I've been going through recently. And I honestly, as a known encourager and motivator, I realize I sometimes feel pressured to always stay motivated. And what I mean by that is I feel like when I feel any sort of negative emotion, be it sadness or anger or just feeling down or not feeling motivated at all, I feel like I am not allowed to feel like that. What I mean is I'm not allowed to feel it, meaning because I'm known as an encourager and motivator, I can't verbally say like I'm down right now, or like that I can be honest with that, even not just with you guys, but with myself. I feel like I can't be honest about it. And so this video goes out to all the encouragers and motivators out there who feel like I just have to be on 100% all the time or 110% all the time, not just for myself, but for those out there who are watching me, listening to me, reading my stuff, going on my page, or just, around me in my job, at school, whatever it is. So I want to encourage you in a few things, you encouragers and motivators out there, and even just people in general, honestly. This is for people who maybe aren't even the most encouraging, just for you in general. These are probably really good tips for you too. The first thing is you are allowed to feel every and any emotion that comes your way, be it happiness, sadness, grief, anger, frustration, irritation, anything, positive or negative. Everyone has their off days, even those who are more positive or seem to be more positive than others. As a motivator, maybe you feel tempted to just shut that down, to not even think about it, to not even process through it. And I know I do this to myself. I find myself being like, okay, like I'm supposed to be the positive person, I'm supposed to be, Mishy the motivator or whatever. And so all that negativity, it doesn't exist, but really it does exist. You can say that a frustration or something that makes you sad or anything does exist without you not being extremely motivating through it. You need to give yourself permission to cry and to lash out sometimes, to feel the negativeness sometimes. Because number one, this is healthy. Like, side note, or I guess this would be 1A. Feeling all those things is healthy for you. Don't create this unrealistic expectation on yourself that people are always expecting you to be happy, always expecting you to be super motivating and encouraging all the time. I'll tell you this right now, there are days where I look at people and I'm like, today was hard. I'm honestly sad, I'm frustrated, I'm hurt. And it's good to acknowledge those feelings and to really dig deep into those things and process those things. And 1B, motivators and encouragers go through the same things other people do. So how are you supposed to encourage someone through something, if you don't know what the opposite is, if you don't know what the negative effect is? So we have to go through these things in order for us to understand, okay, if I go through this negative thing, what's the opposite of that? What's the positive? If we can go through that, then we become more relatable to the people who we are encouraging, who we're motivating, who we're trying to keep in positive moods and positive vibes and all that stuff. It's what makes you relatable, what makes you human. It allows us to be able to see eye to eye with other people. So make sure that you're allowing yourself to feel every and any emotion that comes your way. 2, remember that even on your off days, on those days where you're like, man, like I can't even motivate myself right now, much less motivate other people. Remember on those days that you're still made for this. I find myself telling myself when I am down, I'm like, man, did God really put me on this earth to speak to people, to really encourage people? Because I'm really not feeling it right now. And you can like get sucked into this negative hole of like, oh, see, you're having bad days. Maybe it's not a bad day, but a bad week. Or maybe it's not a bad week, but a bad month, a bad few months, whatever it is. And you're just like, I can't be that encouraging person. I thought I was. But for those of you who've had clear confirmation from the Lord, who have walked in this for a while, just know that your dark days aren't there to diminish your calling. Know that you were made for it. Those days don't make you any less of a motivator. So remind yourself of that confirmation, whatever it is that the Lord placed on your heart, be it a person, a situation, something that was just like, yo, like, I'm calling you to do this. And just because you're called to do it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be hard days. So remember that you were made for this, despite the fact that you're having a hard time. Ooh, 3. This is one for me. I mean, all of these are for me too, but this one really hits. You don't want to compare. And I think a lot about comparison throughout a lot of my videos because it's a huge thing right now in our culture with social media being there and everybody's comparing their bodies, their jobs, their friends, their lives. Everybody's comparing everything. And so as a motivator, when you're having these rough patches, you really don't want to compare yourself. So maybe you say, I'm going to boost myself up by listening to a motivator that I really like. But then when you're listening to them to try to encourage yourself, you find yourself comparing your styles of motivating, how they speak, what they're using, like their equipment, whatever, their subtitles or whatever it is. You're starting to compare every little thing instead of truly listening or reading to try to really encourage yourself. This is my suggestion. If you can't listen or read to someone that inspires you or motivates you to try to encourage you without comparing yourself, then just don't do it. The way you encourage and motivate is unique to you. Everyone, every motivator, every encourager, every person in general has a specific way of doing things. And yeah, maybe there are some similarities here and there, but you need to know that you are unique and that the way that you do things is perfect. And you don't have to compare yourself to anybody else, what they use, how they say things, how they articulate themselves, whatever it is. You don't have to compare yourself. And so there's no point in doing that to yourself and just corrupting your mind with all these lies and all these doubts about who you are and what you're called to do. And also remember too that it doesn't mean that if one person is talking about, let's say, body image, that they're motivating people and that's like their core message in like a lot of their motivation things. It doesn't mean that you're like, well, that's taken, I guess I can't talk about that. No, I mean, everybody has a different perspective on their body compared to other bodies, on their whole just aspect. I mean, skin color, hair texture, there's so many different things that you can speak to. So don't think that just because a topic's been spoken on or been focused on a lot in motivational or encouraging circles, it doesn't mean that you don't have a voice in that, because you totally do. So I encourage you to just go out there and say what you want to say your perspective, and be motivational through it. So don't forget that. Be reminded of your restoration process. I don't know about you guys, but I know that when I'm down, I have to do several things. I have to pray, for sure. I just have to like let it out to the Lord and be like, this is my frustration, or I'm sad and this is what's going on in that moment. Or when I'm alone, I have to read my Bible and just remind myself of the verses the verses I'm trying to memorize. Remind myself of the things that the Lord has encouraged me through, and remind myself of who he is and what he's doing in my life. And even though it may not be clear, reminding myself of who he is encourages me that he's got it. Even though I don't know what's going to happen next, he does. And that should be enough encouragement for me. So I pray, I read my Bible, I have some me time. So like, be it journaling, or I love taking baths, guys. Being in my own apartment, I love taking baths. So taking a bath, eating my favorite food, watching a good show, whatever it is. I just want to encourage you guys to do that as well. Reminders of your restoration of like, or even like thinking of where you were before and how the Lord has restored you to now. Even though you may be in a rough patch, like you are definitely not where you were, a year ago or 5 years ago. Like, think back to where you were then and all the things that you were worried about then, and now you're here. So just remind yourself of the restoration process that you're continuously going through as life goes on. The very last thing I have for you guys is know who your people are. Encouragers and motivators, you need people. You need other encouragers and motivators in your life, because you can't encourage and motivate on your own. Sometimes, yeah, you can motivate yourself, but sometimes you can only do so much when you're down. And so you need other people who can speak to your specific situation, who know you, who really, really know you. Not just the people who are like, yeah, I know her from so-and-so, or no, who literally know your your background, who know specific details about your life, who know how you handle things, who know where your mind runs off to when, you know, you start to doubt yourself and when lies are starting to like overcome you. Like, you need to know who those people are in your life, and you need to be able to go to them and be like, yo, like, I need you to pray for me. Like, this is what's going on. So accountability partners, a group of friends who like you could just run to and be like, yay, like, I'm all out of motivation right now. I'm trying to motivate these people and I can't do it because I can barely motivate myself. So get those people in your life who can pour back the living water of Christ into you when you're completely out, because there's going to be a time where you're completely out, because I've totally been there and I felt like I can't do Mishy Mondays today. I got to take some time for myself. Sometimes I remember I've definitely skipped a week, 2 weeks, just because I'm like, I can't do it. And so make sure you have those people in your life who you can go to, be it family, friends, coworkers, whatever. If you're really that close with someone on social media like that, I guess whoever, a significant other, someone who can really help you. So to recap, you're allowed to feel every emotion, positive, negative, whatever it is, because it's healthy and it's what makes you relatable as a motivator. You're a human. You go through everything. Just know that. 2, remember that your off days don't make you any less worthy to be an encourager or motivator. You were created to do this. You were made for this, and don't doubt it at all, because if you've been confirmed, if the Lord's confirmed this in your heart, then this is what you're meant to do. 3, don't compare. Don't compare your life to anybody else's, your motivation style or skill to anybody else's. Don't compare, because you're unique and the way you do things is perfect. Remember your restoration process. Take time for yourself. Remember where you've come from and where you are now. Just remind yourselves of those things, and then find your people or get your people or know your people, who they are, how they can encourage you, how they can help you get back on your feet when you don't feel like motivating anybody or motivating yourself. So if you're an encourager or motivator, be it on social media, in your friend group, at work, whatever it is, I just want to let you know and encourage you and remind you that you are so vital to the people around you, to yourself. You're so vital in this world. So many people need so much encouragement these days, and they just need to hear a positive word. And so I congratulate and kudos to all of you who do that for yourselves, who do that for your friends, who do it for social media. If this is what you do, I know it may be discouraging sometimes to know that you're putting yourself out there, you're putting your words out there, and you're like, do people even watch? Do people even like get what I'm saying? Am I even encouraging enough? But I promise you that there are probably people out there who watch you all the time, who read what you have to say, who are excited to hear what you have to say because they feel so good about it. And so kudos to you guys. I love you guys, every single one of you. You make an impact. Trust me, you really do. That's all, guys. That's what I have for you today, specifically for my encouragers and motivators. I love you. I love you all. If you're not the one who's known as an encourager and motivator, I hope that this could just help you, even as a person, just to go through everything of not comparing yourself, to know that you're unique wherever you are, to find your people, to feel every emotion. So this really wasn't, I mean, this was specifically for my encouragers and motivators, but even as just one who isn't known as that, you can still take some tips from this. So I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you next week with another guest. I'm loving the special guests. If you guys have any suggestions on who I should have on Mishy Mondays, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you next week.